Hello, everyone. How you doing? Thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate you coming on. Bob, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, considering I've been walking a lot, but I'm getting some good walks in. And like today, I did a 3.6 mile walk, took just a little bit of a break, and then I cut the grass because unfortunately it's that time of year in Omaha.
So, and how much grass is there to cut? Does that add an extra mile to your?
um, Probably about that. I haven't really checked, but it's an average yard for around here. It takes me about 20 minutes to do the front and 20 minutes
Okay.
to do the back.
Ah, okay, nice.
So it's
Um,
about another 40 minutes of pushing the mower around.
yeah. Over time, how's the walking been for you? Like when you first started on this journey, how like if you were to walk any distance, would that be like really tough on your back?
Oh, yeah, well, I couldn't do it. I mean, basically the first 4 months of carnivore, I sat in the house basically losing weight and eating beef. I did
Mm.
finally get out for my first walk. I started on like May the 9th, and my first walk was on September the 1st. And it was just down to the corner and back.
Mm.
And that's where the 1% better every day was born because I started going just a few steps further every day. And, I've talked about this a lot on my channel recently. When I was down in North Carolina, I had some big numbers. I was walking 5, 6, 7 miles at a shot, but it wasn't all in one shot. I was parked in the church parking lot, so I'd get out, take a couple laps around the parking lot, and then sit down and take a break, and then get out and
Mm.
take a couple laps around the parking lot, and so on and so forth. And it's very easy to rack up big miles when you're doing it that way. Even when I went out to the trails in the park, I'd
Mm.
walk for a half a mile, sit down on a bench and rest for a while, walk for a half mile, sit down on a bench and rest for a while. And now I'm doing, well, today's walk for the video comes out tomorrow was 3.6 miles nonstop, go, 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 go. And
Mm.
there's a big hill that I start off with, and I do two big laps around the area. And then I finish off by a third trip up to the top of that big hill and then back down to the house. And previously, I'd been doing a fast walk up that hill to start the walk. I have saved it, and my third trip up the hill after I've already walked 3+ miles, I'm doing a
Mm.
fast walk up that hill. And let me tell you, doing a long uphill fast walk at the end of your walk is a lot tougher than doing it at the beginning of your walk. I see
Right.
we've got a lot of people to say hi to already, though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Lots of people coming in. Yeah, I've been flashing them up on screen. Guys, as you come in, say hello. Let us know where you're coming in from. And do us a massive favor and smash the like button. That'll help people. Well, that'll help YouTube know that it should push this live stream out so we get more people in. And yeah, so Papa Carnivore is actually saying when I started Carnivore 2 years ago, I could barely walk because the arthritis in my knee and back was so bad. But after a few months, I started walking, and now I do 5 miles every day. That's awesome. Um, yeah, it's like you get into such a state, whether it's like the back pain or the arthritis in your legs or whatever it is, and it's just like it just takes over your life. It just becomes part of you, less pain, right? And so when it starts to disappear, I feel like your body gets back this lightness. It's just this
Yeah.
crazy feeling, it's like when you stand up and you go, oh, it doesn't hurt anymore.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, it's been crazy this journey that I've been on because I even before I started carnivore, I could barely stand for more than a couple of minutes, And then the longer I stood after that, my back just kept getting worse and worse and worse. The pain just kept intensifying. And I even sent a message to Dr. Barry and said, is my back going to get better? And he said, you'll just have to wait and see. And I had thought that, if I could get to the point where I could stand for 5 minutes at a time instead of 2.5 minutes, I could get back out and do some things, because 5 minutes of standing or walking would get you from bench to bench at the local zoo. So I could get back out and go do stuff, where 2.5 minutes is not enough time to do stuff. And the pain really does take over your life. And when you're at that point where you can barely walk, you really have to plan your day. I mean, because I have a 2-story house, and I plan my day around the fewest number of trips up and down the steps. And now I don't even think about it. If I leave something downstairs and forgot about it, I just bop back down the stairs and get it. No big deal. You put out a video of I saw that video of yours where you basically just walked up and down the steps because you could do it again without any problem.
Right. It's just this crazy feel. Like, suddenly I realized I didn't have to hold the handrail.
Yeah.
Suddenly realized that I could take 2 steps at a time, and just these little things. And it's like, and it's taking no effort. And I don't feel exhausted at the end of it and all that kind of thing. It's just this massive change. So we need to wish someone happy anniversary here. Marnie Mack, 7 years into Carnivore as of this month, going strong at 62. Happy anniversary, Marnie. Congratulations.
Yes. Good job. That's definitely worth a high five and a fist bump. Good job.
Nice work. Okay. I should, one thing I forgot to mention, if you have any questions or you would like us to discuss any particular point, please put a Q in front of your comment in the chat, and that'll make it easier for me to find. Okay, so Art by Yuna, it's sad when I see so many people around me that are so overweight and sick, nearly 62, and feel better than they did 20 years ago. And I think one of the things is, the more we live like this, the more we educate ourselves about what's going on, the more we kind of realize just how sick people are. We kind of, when we're in the same boat, you kind of just accept, like, you just look at everyone as being normal. But when you start to go down this path and you realize that everyone is so sick, it's really quite saddening. And you want to run up to everyone, of course, and rip the shopping cart out of their hands and tip it over and say, stop doing this to yourself. But we obviously can't.
Yeah, I mean, it is distressing. And I've been watching a lot of stuff, and it's gotten so normal. Oh, you've got an 8-year-old kid with fatty liver disease. You've got a 12-year-old kid that's 50 pounds overweight. Now you're 25 or 30 and you're on 3 or 4 medications. And by the time you're my age, you're having a triple bypass surgery. You're on, a whole bucket load of medicines. That's become the normal around the world. And it is very disheartening now that we know what we know, that it doesn't have to be that way. Taking 4 medications in your 30s every day is not normal.
And that's the really, sorry, I just got to shift. My desk is making a noise as I bump into it all the time. So that's the really sad thing when you hear them talking about giving statins to kids or giving Ozempic to kids and that kind of thing, right? Because it's not just that particular drug. It's that from an age, like being a teenager or whatever, you're training those kids that this is normal life. As you go through life, you're just going to be given more drugs. And it's just, it's normalizing it way too much.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we've got some questions here. Hang on one second. Okay, so let's just Carnivore Science. How you doing? Carnivore since November 2022. Fixed all medical conditions. Gave him my life back. I now turn 58 tomorrow. Well, happy birthday and
Happy birthday.
congratulations. Yeah,
Yes.
nice work. That's awesome. We've been Carnivore a similar amount of time. Well, all of us have, right, Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I started in May of 22, and you started, I think, in June
that's
of
right. Yeah.
22.
I feel like for like there was something happened in 2022 where that was where there was a lot of carnivores, because when I first started watching YouTube, there was carnivore channels. There was Sean Baker and there was Anthony Chafee and there was Ken Berry and there's lots of carnivore channels, but something happened in 2022 where it was just like there was a lot of people started carnivore.
There were a lot of channels. Quite a few of them have gone the way of the dodo since then, but there are more taking their place every day. Not as rapidly as it was in 2022, but we do still get new carnivore channels out there, and I try to at least watch a few of everybody's videos just to see where they're at and what they're doing. But there for a while, there were so many. It was absolute. If you were to just try and watch one video from every carnivore channel at the end in Carnivore Science's November of 2022, you would have had to sit in front of the computer all day, every day, with no sleep,
So
just to watch
full-time
one
job.
video from everybody.
That's right. Okay, question here from Journey to Health. Any replacements for pork rinds? I have tried looking for beef rinds or something similar, but can't find. I don't eat them. I can't get them here, so I'm not sure. Bob, have you got any ideas?
I make my own beef rinds from time to time. What you do is you
Ooh.
go to the grocery store or wherever you buy your meat and you talk to the butchers there. When they put steaks out, they're forever trimming fat off of them before they wrap them up and put them out for sale. If you talk to them nicely, some places will charge you a little bit. The place I go to, I get 5 pounds of fat at a time and they don't charge me anything for it. It's just the fat that they've cut off of beef. Now you take that home, you start with beef fat that's been trimmed off. You take it home, and of course, you render it down to tallow. But there's going to be chunks left. It won't all render down. You'll end up with these chunks. You take those and you lay them out on an air fryer tray, and you salt them down and throw them in the air fryer till they get nice and crispy. And voila, you have made your own beef rinds.
Oh, nice.
And they're really good.
Hey, and you don't happen to have a video on this on your channel, do you?
I do not.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's
That'd
something
be,
I'll do
yeah,
sometime in the
that'd
next
be
couple of weeks.
a nice idea for a video, yeah.
Because I think I currently have one bag of fat left in my freezer, so I could get that out and work on that.
Yeah, nice. Okay, we got a question from Amanda. What exactly is ghee and how do you make it? I'm not sure. I buy it from the shop.
Yeah, it's clarified butter, but I have no idea how to do it. I know you put it. I don't know. I bet Nisha Berry has how to do it on her channel because she does a lot of recipe stuff. You might even check with Anita over at Ketogenic Woman because I know she has a lot of cooking type videos. But yeah, I'm like Dave. If I want ghee, I'm lazy. I just buy it from the store.
Right. And just as we're on this point, I'm a fan of dad jokes, and when I hear someone say clarified butter, I always kind of, have this image in my head of someone talking to a stick of butter and saying, "What I meant was," so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, okay. After that really, really bad joke, Burns Aquatic.
I belong to 3 or 4 different dad joke groups, and they're all really bad. And I eat them up every morning. I love dad jokes.
Burns Aquatics is, have you ever had a carnivore cooking disaster when you had to toss out your meal?
No.
I think I've dropped stuff on the floor, like like the pan's fallen off. Before it was hot, fortunately, the pan's fallen off the stove and everything went on the floor. How about you, Bob?
No, no. I have eaten some pretty inedible meals back when I was first learning how to do roasts and things like that. But even if it's burnt, instead of just because we talked about putting char on steaks and roasts and stuff, even if that char goes all the way through the piece of meat, I will still eat it because I refuse to waste beef.
Mm.
Even if even if I have to grind it up into like a powder and snort it, that's what I'll do.
Yeah. See you at parties. People think you're doing drugs, and it's actually no. He's just finishing his dinner that got a bit burnt. Okay. So, guys, if any questions or discussion points you want us to go through, please put a Q in front of it. Deborah, I am 71, been doing this for about 7 months, losing about 38 pounds, but I'm still in terrible pain. Help. Where is the pain, Deborah? Is that kind of knee pain, back pain? I think if I was still kind of after 7 months, if I was still suffering pain, I would kind of try and eliminate even more stuff that I'm eating and see how that helps. For example, you might have an allergy to eggs that you don't know about. I would cut out eggs. You might have an allergy to dairy. Cut out dairy, get it down to just meat or something like that.
Yeah. You might even try 30 days of a lion diet where it's just beef, salt, and water, and nothing else, and see if you notice any difference. And if that doesn't do it for you, then at that point, you're probably going to have to consult with somebody that's much smarter about this than I am. Um, Professor K does consultancies, or you could join Dr. Barry's group, or there's so many people. Unfortunately, they charge you for it, but you might need to get some help from an actual nutritionist like Professor K so he can help, maybe examine what's going on and why you have pain. But I would start with just doing 30 days of lion diet like Michaela Peterson did and see what happens from there.
Yeah. And like speaking about Michaela Peterson, like she even noticed certain types of meat set her off, right? Like I think she can't do aged meat or something like that. So it's like even once you eliminate down to that, you might still find that you've got to experiment with the type of meats, right?
Yeah, because Michaela Peterson, I believe she just eats lamb, or for a while was just eating lamb because her body didn't react well to beef.
Right.
I don't know what that's like. I'm glad I'm not one of those because lamb is really expensive here.
Yeah. Julie, Bob, maybe you can help with this one. Will gallstones shrink over time, or do I have to flush them out or get them removed?
It depends. If you're not feeling any pain, they will slowly go down in size as you go to a proper human diet. The problem that can happen, just like with kidney stones and gallstones will shrink in time, but you'll feel them when they get small enough to move. That's when the real pain sets in. So hopefully they get small enough to actually pass through the ducting and don't get stuck, because if it gets stuck, you'll be in a lot of pain, and the only thing you can do is go to the hospital and actually have them removed. But other than that, they should pass on their own. But occasionally people run into stones that weren't quite ready to move, that started to move, and they get stuck.
Yeah. Okay, so just to flash this one up, Brooke, how you doing, Brooke? Okay, anyone turn their pets to full carnivore? We have a diabetic cat, and the vet said kibble promotes it and told us to throw it out. Poor cat lost upper canines. Oh no. Yeah. Mine is mostly carnivore, but very picky. But yeah, they seem to do better, but certainly my experience with the cat is once they've got into a routine of the kibble or just the regular cat food, there's a bit of an adjustment period as they move over, because she won't have it raw, it has to be cooked and blah blah blah. But maybe it's just the type of meat, I'm not sure. No pets, Bob?
I don't have any pets. The only thing I can comment on that is that one of my favorite YouTubers, who's a van lifer, his name is Chrome. He runs the channel Van City Van Life. He has a bulldog, and he switched his bulldog over to a raw meat diet, and you can really tell the difference in the way his bulldog gets around.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Do we have any questions here? Okay, here we go. And Jill says, I fed my son's dog raw hamburger, small amount of beef liver and beef tripe for months, and cleared up his coat and skin issues. Oh, nice. Yeah. Oh, nice. And just on the cat, cats need raw meat because of the taurine that gets lost with cooking. Okay, so I have to keep that in mind as well. Okay, if you've got questions for us, guys, or anything you'd like us to discuss, please put a Q in front of it, and we'll get to it. Oh, and here's one for me. Burns Aquatics. Dave, I have been loving your follow-up videos with past interviewees. They seem to have no problem sticking to carnivore. Yeah, so I'd had lots of people commenting on various videos saying, I'd love to hear from this person again. How come you never have anyone back on? Blah, 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 blah. And so I've started actively kind of following up with people. And yeah, it seems, the majority are still going strong with carnivore. There's some people that'll go, like, maybe they'll fall off the wagon a little bit, they'll because they went to a social event or something like that, but ultimately they're still going back to carnivore. So yeah, it's been pretty cool to see. Okay.
And it is easy to stick to. I mean, it's hard when you're first switching over, because we're used to variety in our meals. But now, my variety is every once in a while I throw a little hot sauce on on my ground beef, but most of the time I don't because it's there. And I actually have a couple of beef roasts in the freezer. I may get one of those out tomorrow or the next day just to have something different.
So speaking of like it's easy and there's so many plus points for carnivore. Like it's easy to prepare things. You don't have all the waste, the chopping and throwing away half of what you bought from the supermarket because that's the offcuts or there's it's wasted in the fridge. Um, what was the what was the thing that got you first that you went, oh, this is just awesome?
Oh, um, probably, I did not actually expect to lose weight when I first started this diet. I was just looking for some pain relief.
Mm,
And which is why I don't have an accurate number of what weight I started at because it wasn't until 2 or 3 weeks into it that I realized my pants were getting a little looser. It's like, maybe I should jump on the scale real quick to see where I'm at. But the real moment for me that I knew something was going on, I sat down because after that, I had lost, I think the title of the video was 29 pounds in 29 days. But I didn't realize the pain was getting better. But I had set my note sheet too far over on the table. And normally before carnivore, I would have had to turn my entire chair and lean forward to get to it. And I just reached over and grabbed it, started reading through my notes, and I stopped right in the middle of reading this piece of paper. And it's like, did I really just do that?
what just happened?
What just happened?
Uh,
And
it's
after that, it's like, wow, this is going to be really easy to stick to because if my shoulder has gotten that much better in just a month, what can I look forward to? And, 3 months later, I was out walking around the block.
mm, it's kind of that reaction when you kind of you suddenly notice that some a problem is not there or some pain is not there anymore. I kind of liken
Mm-hmm.
it, when you're walking somewhere and you trip over a pothole or something, and then you've always got to look back at the pothole and go, what was that? It's almost like that kind of reaction. It's like something happened and you just it's so unexpected and you turn around and you got to look at it and you got to sort of think, and how come that didn't hurt? How come that problem isn't there anymore? Yeah. For me, it's just the constant knocking about food in my head going, "Come on, eat something now. You need food to go along with this activity that you're doing." That's the I was terrible. It's like it didn't matter what I was doing. I'd change focus and it'd be like, "I need some food to go along with this." It's almost like it
Oh,
helped my concentration.
yeah. And I mean, it's social gatherings, get together with a few of your friends.
Mm,
There's two things you do when you get together with your friends: you eat and you drink.
mm.
And it's a very different world now when you go out with your friends and you don't eat anything and all you're drinking is water.
Right. Yeah. How good is it to finally realize that when you can socialize with people without having to hold a drink in your hand. You can socialize with people without having to ram food into your face at the same time that you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so freeing.
It is. It's great.
Yeah. Uh, um, Paul and Rena are here. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I just did a follow-up interview with Paul and Rena the other day, and they're doing really well. Thank you so much for joining us on the live stream as well. Let's have a look. What are we talking about, guys?
Here.
Josephine. Where's Josephine? Oh, yeah. How are you going, Josephine? Nice to see you. Guys, if I could just jump in and ask, apart from adding some questions, if you've got them, could you do us a massive favor? Could you please, whether you're watching on Bob's channel or my channel, could you please smash the like button? The more likes we get, the more likely it is YouTube will push the live stream out to newer audiences, the more likely we'll get more questions coming in. So, yeah, that would be much appreciated. We're up to 84 people in the chat at the moment. Be good to get that over 100 if we could. Well, how you doing, Donna?
Hi, Donna.
And Josephine, thank you very much. Like button smashed. Appreciate it. Okay.
Yeah.
And Sandy says, I can socialize with a cup of coffee. Yeah, me too. Like, that's the other awesome thing. It's when you go out for dinner with friends, and if it's like, so you're not, maybe it's lunch and it's not your time of the day to eat, for example, or they don't have something on the menu that works for you. You can just sit there with a coffee and you can enjoy the company, and you can be happy. And that's such an empowering feeling, that you can see people eating food in front of you and you go, just not feeling any emotions about this at all. I'm just quite happy sitting here chatting to people. You know, it takes your friends more to get over that than it does for you, I think. But
oh yeah, I mean, well, that first year I was down in North Carolina, I went to a cousin's house for Thanksgiving. And, you know, I ate some meat and then stood there talking to everybody that I hadn't seen in some of them decades. But it's such a different feeling when everybody else is standing there with a plate of just another plate full of stuff. I don't really want much. I just want a little of this and a little of that. And they're all standing around talking and shoveling food in their face. And it's like, I don't need that. I already ate. I'm done. It's a pretty good thing.
Yeah. The feeling of being able to do that is really empowering. But the other thing is, like, just day to day, it improves you, like, life in so many ways. Like, things become more efficient to do, you become more productive, you're not constantly, you don't have that fog in your mind about, like, oh, what are we eating now? What's next? You don't have any of that kind of stuff, you know? Yeah. Okay, so Josephine, what would be the worst type of meat for this diet? Worst kind of meat?
Probably chicken breast, because it's
yes.
so lean. Chicken breast is perfectly fine as long as you eat some butter or something else with it, because it's not going to be fatty enough to give your body the fat that it needs. But even if you don't add butter, a chicken breast, while not what I would call an ideal carnivore food, is still better than 99% of what you'll find in the grocery store.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of say chicken breast. It's like the water of meat. I I think, yeah, as long as the chicken breast is a vehicle for something fatty, it's fine. I agree. Okay, and Papa Carnivore says, I can't moderate chocolate or any cookies, cakes, pies, muffins, etc. Yeah, me neither. I'm an abstainer. I'm not a moderator. Yeah,
Yeah.
as long as I don't go near it at all, I'm good. Yeah, but I know that it's a slippery slope. So, are you abstainer, Bob?
Oh yeah. No, I'm not a moderator. As I've said several times on my channel, it does not matter what size container ice cream comes in. It's a single serving container, whether that be a half pint or a pint or a quart or a half gallon or a gallon. Or even once upon a time, I'm ashamed to admit this, but once upon a time, I ate one of those big 2.5 pound tubs of vanilla ice cream from Walmart in one
Wow.
sitting. I pulled the lid off of it, scraped a little bit of the ice cream out of it while I ate it, and then I took basically a half a bottle of chocolate syrup and dumped it into that channel and went at it. It was a great big chocolate sundae.
Wow. Wow. Um, Ruth Ann, one of my favorite podcasts. So happy to catch you live. Thank you so much, Ruth Ann.
Thank you for being here, Ruth Ann. We appreciate it.
Um,
I do,
okay. Oh,
I
sorry,
do
go
have a
ahead.
little No, go ahead. But I saw people talking about chocolate. I didn't see exactly what they were saying in the
Mm,
comment section over there because my laptop screen is too small to read those things. But I do want to tell a quick story. I had a gal, and obviously, chocolate is not carnivore, and it's very high in oxalates. But early in my journey, I had one of the commenters on my videos.
mm.
They had basically it was one square of a Hershey's chocolate bar every night for dessert, knowing they were going to get that one square of chocolate at the end of the day, kept them on plan for the rest of the day. Now, is eating a piece of chocolate at the end of the day ideal? No. But if that one little bite of chocolate keeps you on plan the rest of the time, that's certainly better than every other week or so you give in and chow down on a great big pile of chocolate.
Mm. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, if you can, if it's what helps you abstain from everything else, then yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay. So Emma, hi from Canada. Do either of you drink things like kefir? I'm not sure how to say it, or yogurt? A big fan. I don't. Bob?
No, I drink water.
Hmm. Is that is that you don't like it, a conscious decision not to do it and just stick with
I,
water? Or...
I've never tried kefir, however you say it. Um, when I switched to carnivore, I got rid of Diet Coke over the course of the first 45 days or so, and I've just recently stopped doing coffee, and water is what I have now. I did a lot of coffee over the last 3 years. I've always been a big coffee drinker, but I was just like I got rid of the Diet Coke. I was making the coffee weaker and weaker and weaker, and about a week ago, I was going to make my pot of coffee for the day, and I looked at it. It's like, I'm barely putting one scoop of coffee in my pot of coffee, so that it basically comes out coffee colored water. I couldn't even really taste the coffee flavor anymore. I'm like, that's enough of this. I'm done. And I just have water.
Mm, mm, nice. Yeah, for me, it's also this thing of like, I feel like adding anything in, like I always feel like variety is something that is probably going to derail me. So I just like keeping it to the eggs, the meat, the water, and I do coffee.
Yeah,
And
no,
yeah, just keep it simple. So yeah, KISS principle: keep it simple, stupid.
yes.
Yeah. Um. Okay, Amanda, are dairy products addictive? I feel they are. I think they can be. Like, for example, cheese for me is like that'll. If I have a bit of cheese, I can't stop eating cheese. But I always thought that was my personality. But yeah, cheese is definitely addictive for me. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, dairy is actually addictive. Not as addictive as sugar, of course, but I think it's called casomorphine. There's some kind of a chemical in dairy products,
Mm.
and it's there for a reason genetically over the course of time so that baby mammals want what their mother is giving them. But
Right.
it's that's why, people that like cheese, I do occasionally, I'll keep like a thing of grated Parmesan cheese to occasionally add a little bit of Parmesan cheese to my um, ground beef bowl. But I had to give up buying like cheese slices and things like that. That, when I bought the package of cheese slices, the thought was, well, when I make a ground beef bowl, I can put just a slice of cheese on top of it, let it melt for a few moments, and that'll be good.
Mm.
But that's not what happens because I'm not a moderator. It's like, oh, well, while I'm waiting for the beef to cook, I'll just eat one slice of cheese. And then, you know, before the beef even gets cooked, I look down at my entire package of cheese. I don't know where it went. It just vanished into thin air.
Mm.
Yes, Dr.
Sounds familiar.
Berry and Dr. Baker, and I think, there are several of the good doctors that we follow that have talked about the addictive properties of dairy.
Mm. Yeah, I think there's a Dr. Chafee has a good interview with Dr. Paul Mason where they talk about this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Yeah, it's maybe a couple of years old, but it's a good conversation. Yeah. Um, okay, Josephine, another question. This sun has is what one of the worst side effects if you were to just go right into the carnivore program, as I'm also trying to do a bit of bodybuilding. I'm sorry, I missed the one of the worst side effects. If he's experiencing bad side effects after going straight into carnivore, I would kind of pull back a little bit and, maybe transition in more slowly
Yeah,
if that's what the problem is. Yeah.
yeah. Throw the seed oils away first. And then, after a few days or a week of that, then get rid of the processed crap. And then slowly cut back on the grains and the starchy vegetables by adding more meat to the plate. And eventually you'll get there without the, as Dr. Barry likes to call it, the carnivore cleanse.
Mm. Okay, so hang on, we've got a couple of things here. Da, da, da. Oh, where am I going? Okay, g'day, meathead. How you doing?
Hello, meathead.
I saw something down here. Hang on. Okay. So, Burns Aquatics, Dave, can I get you to drink coffee again? Studies show it's healthy for you. I'm only half joking. No need to try. I'm already back on it. Yeah, it I was off it for quite a few months, but yeah, I ended up finding my way back on. And it's actually there's a lot of different reasons, but the kind of quite sad reason I think that I've found myself back on it was I could not get over the tiredness when I'm not drinking coffee. And that the sad part of that is that's how addicted I am to coffee, or that's what an effect it has on my body. So when I'm not drinking coffee, if I'm sitting in one place and I'm doing something, like I might be editing a video, I might be reading something, whatever it is, but I'm sitting in a place, I will just start to feel like I'm about to go to sleep, and I'll start to become unfocused. So I'll become unfocused first, and I'll start to feel like I'm going to sleep. That's how much of an effect coffee has on me, and that's part of the reason I went back to it. So not a good reason, but yeah, here I am. So Papa Carnivore, my guilty pleasure is Topo Chico sparkling water in glass bottles, either the regular or the lime. Have you ever had those, Bob?
No. Back when I first started, Dr. Barry and Nisha were talking a lot about Topo Chico. It's their favorite sparkling water that you should get in the bottles. And I looked at the price of it and went, that's not for me. To wean myself off of Diet Coke using the adding sparkling water to it trick and slowly making the Diet Coke weaker, it probably was not the best thing in the world for me, but I just went to Walmart and bought the cheapest sparkling water they had in plastic bottles and called it good enough, because I got basically enough bottles of sparkling water of the cheap stuff to wean myself all the way off of Diet Coke, where I would have gotten for the same price maybe a 6-pack of Topo Chico.
We've got a question here just for you to clarify something, Bob. So, Bob, do you drink coffee?
Not anymore. For the last few days, I have drunk a lot of coffee, but just like with the weaning myself off of Diet Coke, about 3 months ago, I started weaning myself off coffee by making it weaker and weaker and weaker. And you have to understand, I used to put 3.5 big scoops of coffee into my coffee maker and make a whole pot every day. And I did that for a long time. Like I said, 3 months ago, I started just cutting down the amount of coffee I was putting in it until, like I said, I was down to, it was basically just weak coffee colored water. So it's like, no, I'm done. And it's been, I had done previous experiments of 2 different times, 30 days no coffee, and once 60 no coffee. I'm going to try to stay off coffee as long as I can, maybe permanently or for at least a year, to see if I notice any difference. We'll see.
Right. And on the coffee meathead, Dave, I came from 12 cups of coffee a day down to 2. If I remember the second cup, I upped my fat to compensate for less coffee. Maybe that's what I need to try and do. Yeah. Yeah, I tried with salt, and the salt's good. Like salted hot water is really good, but yeah, it didn't have the kick. So I was still falling asleep. So yeah, I might have to try replacing it with butter. I've still actually got to try butter in a coffee. I keep having to try these things.
And if you like that, and if you liked the hot salted water, instead of adding coffee, try hot salted water with a chunk of butter melted into it.
Oh, sounds nice. Hey John, how you doing? Thanks
Hi John,
for
glad
coming
you made
in. Uh-oh, now we've started the coffee discussion. Everyone's in on the coffee.
Uh-huh.
And I was whizzing up hot water and butter to get me off coffee. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've got to try again. Um, oh, hang on. What do we do? Oh, this is jumping around everywhere. We're getting more people in the chat. I'm pretty stoked. I was watching Homestead How and my little face popped up thanking Dr. Berry. Oh, okay. Sorry, I've jumped into the middle of a discussion there. Okay, is there no questions, guys? Put a Q in front of it. Let me see these questions. The chat's jumping around. I can't find anything. There's so much chatter going on, and I can't find any questions. Oh, yay! Lambs has put a question. Thank you, Lambs. Did you notice any difference with your sleep between coffee and zero coffee? Bob, did you want to take that one first?
I'll take it first. To be honest, no. Because I don't think coffee affects my sleep. And to be honest, for the last, not just these last couple of weeks of walking challenge, basically the last couple of years of everything that I've been doing, from walking to working at the miniature golf course to doing my own yard work, and all of that stuff adds up to, by the end of the day, I'm pretty tired and I have no trouble falling asleep. I've never been one of these people that's had a hard time falling asleep. Now, I do occasionally have bouts of bifurcated sleeping, which is where I'll be really tired, go to bed at 8:30 or 9 o'clock, sleep for 3 or 4 hours, then wake up. And rather than fighting to go back to sleep, I'll just stay up for an hour and a half doing something and then go right back to bed again and get the rest of my sleep after the break. But I've always been a really easy sleeper. How about you, Dave?
Yeah. So, now the questions are coming through thick and fast. So I've given up coffee in the past before, and every time I've given up in the past, it's improved my sleep a lot, like a lot. And immediately, if I go 24 hours without coffee, that next sleep is amazing. And part of the reason I gave it up the latest time I did was because I wanted to improve my sleep. And it did get better, but nowhere near what had happened before. And so I don't know if perhaps what's happened is being carnivore has improved my sleep a lot. And then the difference between coffee, not coffee is marginal now compared to what it was before. I'm not sure. But yeah, it didn't make that much of a difference this time relative to what had happened before. Donna, what's the best way to transition to OMAD? I would, for me, the easiest way to transition was because I'm a breakfast eater typically, was just to delay eating breakfast till later in the day, one day, just see if I could do it. I mean, it happened by accident, but if I was doing it intentionally, just see if I could delay it till like after 12 p.m. And then if you're only eating your first meal of the day after 12 p.m., you're probably not going to get hungry for the rest of the day. I'm not, other than that, I'm not sure. To be honest, I wouldn't really be intentionally transitioning. But yeah, what are your thoughts, Bob?
Yeah, that's exactly my thought. I would not intentionally do it. Just let it come to you. If you're eating until you're comfortably stuffed or full, or however you want to put that phrase, you will eventually just not be hungry when it's time to eat again. And then you'll skip a meal. And then you'll skip a meal. And then suddenly, a month or two down the road, you find you only get hungry once a day. That's the way I would do it. I would not intentionally say, okay, I'm going to go OMAD. I'm only going to eat once today. Some people never actually get there because they aren't physically able to eat enough food at one sitting to keep them satiated for an entire 24-hour period. I can because I'm a big eater, but some people just can't do that. And then, I always like to use Rick as the example, Charger Mopar. He still eats 3 meals a day after 41, 42 years of being a carnivore. And he doesn't eat lightly. Now, granted, he's very active, but he eats 3 meals a day, about 1.5 to 2 pounds of food at each meal.
Yeah. Okay, Scott, I've been on keto 5 months and lost 15 pounds, but I'm not overweight. How do I make the weight loss stop now?
Your body will adjust.
Yeah, you'll get to a natural point where you don't lose weight anymore if you're eating natural foods that are not messing with your hormones. You'll just get to a natural point. And it might be less than you actually think it's meant to be. Because my what seems to be my natural weight is much less than I ever thought it should have been. But I feel much better being that way.
Yeah, your body will arrive at a set point eventually. It may go down some more, it may go up, but eventually, as you said, you've been doing it for 5 months. I would just relax and let your body do what it wants to do for the first year and see where you end up. Because your body's not going to let you get too thin.
Yeah.
It's just not, unless you're not eating enough fat. Unless you're just not eating enough, period.
Yeah, actually, and that is a point, just to go back to that. Just make sure that you're not, in each meal, you're not kind of eating to like an arbitrary limit. You're not saying like, well, I can only eat this portion of this or whatever. Just eat until you're not hungry anymore, rather than saying, well, I can only eat 3 grams of this or 30 grams of that. And Megan, I have no weight loss, but lost some inches, 8 weeks in BBBE. I do track macros loosely. Thoughts?
You're
8
doing
weeks is
great.
probably, yeah, you're doing really well. If you're losing inches, your body is recomposing, if you're losing inches but not losing weight, I think that's probably good. For me, it's always about the mirror. When you look in the mirror, do you feel like things are improving? Do you feel like you're looking better? And if that's the case, then that's really where it ends for me.
Yeah, because bone density, connective tissue, we have a lot of tissues in the body that, if we're just getting back into a proper human diet, your bones could be getting denser, but you're losing fat. So you're getting inches gone, but you're not actually losing weight on the scale. And I wouldn't worry about it. If you look better, you feel better, just keep going.
Okay. So, Wendy for Dave, I'm moving to Japan to live for a year. How easy is it to buy organic meats, butter, eggs, etc. in Japan? I'm presently 1 month into a ketogenic diet, hoping to go full carnivore soon. It's not that easy. Part of the reason is that in Japan, the presentation of something, like the presentation of meat for sale in the supermarket, is more important than how the meat was raised and the health profile of the meat and all that kind of thing. And same with eggs and stuff like that. Easy enough to get grass-fed butter, but yeah, if you're living in a city, I don't think it's all that easy. But there are some online services you can order from, but I think they're a little bit expensive. But yeah, let me know when you get to Japan, and yeah, shoot me an email or something, and maybe we can chat about it more as the time's getting closer for you moving over. Okay, Gary. I'm insulin resistant and can't lose any more weight after losing 130 pounds, 501 days on carnivore, not taking any meds now, and zero carbs, and blood sugar won't come down anymore. 45 pounds to go. Any thoughts on that one, Bob?
Well, you just have to be patient. You're down 130 pounds, and sometimes it stalls and can stall for a long time. I mean, I lost 150 pounds that first year, and I'm coming up on my 3-year mark, and I still have what I would consider about 25 or 30 pounds to go. It may come off at some point. It might not ever come off. But again, as long as you feel good and you're not having any problems like that, and you say you're doing zero carb and you say your blood sugar won't come down anymore, is your blood sugar still high, or is it in normal range? If it's still high after 500 days on carnivore, I would look for another reason, like perhaps you've become a type 1 instead of a type 2 diabetic. But that's a doctor kind of question. That's not something that I can talk to you about here because I'm not a doctor. I don't even play one on TV. But yeah. You got any other thoughts on that, Dave?
Yeah, just my only thoughts were when you said think of the other reason. If your blood sugar's high, think of what else it could be. I was just thinking like, yeah, is it also something to do with stress, lack of sleep, all that kind of thing, you know? So it's probably not just diet. It could be outside of that as well. So last question, and we had a flood of questions come in the last little while. So this is the last question, and then we'll hang up. We'll close out for the day. So, how do you avoid eating because of boredom? Some temptation comes on strong just because I have an in-between time break on my hands. My thoughts on this are: make sure you're eating enough fat, and something I did early on that helped me because I'm a boredom eater is in the in-between times, give yourself something to do or change what you regularly do. For example, I'll put words into your mouth. I'm going to imagine like in between times could be that it could be a break at work. Right. And so in those in-between times, you're sitting in the break room. And so that's when you would normally go over to the donuts or something like that. I would like in those in-between times, I'd try and get out of the office, or I'd try and get out of, get out of the break room, at least go for a walk, do something, keep your hands busy, write something down, just try and change it up. Because that change of atmosphere, that change of doing something is often enough to like make you not feel like you need to eat out of boredom. Did you have any thoughts, Bob?
Yeah, well, and the other thing is that, if you're not having any success with that, go ahead and eat some carnivore foods. Like I said, everybody's always gets so locked up on OMAD or 2MAD or whatever it is they're doing. having a couple of pre-cooked beef patties in your pocket is not a bad thing. Like I said, not everybody can do this, but if you look at Charger Mopar, he's 56 now, I think. He's a few years younger than I am, but like I said, he eats 3 huge meals a day. So eating out of boredom, as long as it's carnivore food, is not the worst thing in the world. And eventually, perhaps it'll get to the point where you do have success distracting yourself by, instead of going to the break room, go for a walk around the outside of the building.
Yeah. Nice. So we will end the live stream here, guys. Thank you so much for coming in and your chats, your questions. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. And we'll be back with you in about 2 weeks. Bob?
Yes, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks for stopping by today. This is some of my favorite times of the week, between talking with Dave and talking with all you guys. We let you run basically the entire show. Whatever you put in the comments is what we talk about. And I really like that. So don't forget to get out there and be 1% better. Today, tomorrow, every day. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you next time.